you're wondering if your marketing is not working or why it's not working and you're not sure, especially if you're someone who is not green at marketing, maybe you're even a marketer yourself, right? Or you're an entrepreneur and you have had enough marketing experience in your own business and you're like, why the heck is this not working? Then this video is for you. Okay, so I think that digital marketing really ruined it for us marketers because it put us in a position where we're so used to immediate gratification. Take, for example, paid ads. You put in $1, you get $2. You put $1, you get $100. Or email. You know, every time you send an email, you get the cookie. Like there's almost always an immediate result when you're sending to the masses, when you're creating stuff for the masses. And when it comes to creating organic marketing, when it comes to outreach, when it comes to creating content, when it comes to those things that you do, especially if you're a service provider and you're wanting to show your work to the world, it's a completely different ballgame, and it can be really, really hard and frustrating when you don't have tons of money to spend on paid ads, especially now that they're getting more and more expensive, and you have to use more organic or not paid ways of advertising yourself and of marketing. And I think it's really detrimental to think that marketing is a linear process, because it is not. In fact, very few things in life are actually that linear, and marketing specifically is definitely not linear. It is not like you put a piece of content, you publish it, and somebody sees it, they like it, they read it, they like it, they comment on it, and they're like, you know what, I want to work with you. It doesn't work that way. It's not like you start, creating a podcast, for example, and people are lining up to work with you. It doesn't work that way. Or you do an outreach, or you start a relationship, or whatever. Anything that you do in marketing is going to take some time to show results. And the results that you have today are from the efforts that you put in a month ago, a year ago, whatever. Like there is a gap between the cause and the effect, between the thing that you do and the final result. And when I think of how I worked with some people too, like I'm not just telling you from my experience or my client's experience, but how I hired people to work with, service providers, the way it worked, it was also non-linear. I mean, I remember this one person who I learned about them through someone else. Then I happened to watch a podcast, and then I followed their content for 6 months, and then they had a live thing, and I was like, okay, let me show up to this live thing. And then I liked the way they were teaching, and then a couple months later we were working, and it was a very, very high ticket package, and for a short period of time. But you'd think, how did you end up investing that much money with this person only months after hearing about them? Surely they had to do something incredibly impressive. But it wasn't that. They really didn't have any impressive credentials or content or contributions other than the fact that they were showing up consistently, and they kept reminding me, the audience, of why I needed to work on this problem that I was kind of sort of aware of. And that brings me to how it all works, really. If we think about marketing and how it works, it is about people knowing about you, the right people knowing about you. And the right people are the people who can either benefit directly from your thing, or can refer you to people who can benefit from your thing. So your ideal client, or their friends and family and influencers, and the people that they have conversations with. They need to know about you. They need to know what is it that you do and for who, and what makes you different or unique, or not better than anyone else, but the only one, really. Because in today's day and age, it's not about being better, because if you want to talk better, all markets are already oversaturated. There is something for everything. There is someone for every freaking thing you could possibly think of. So wanting to come up with something that no one has ever thought of, or wanting to be better than the next person, is really a race to the bottom. Instead, what you can do is be yourself, which that's your guarantee that there's nobody like you. And when I say be yourself, I don't mean I'm just an authentic person and I talk. When I say be yourself, I really mean bring all of your weird. Bring all of you, okay? Everything about you that you are rejecting and you think is unlovable, unlikable, inappropriate, doesn't fit into this business. The part of you that's bubbling under the surface and wants to come out, it's there, okay? Look me in the eye and tell me there isn't a spirit in you that wants to come alive. That is what I'm talking about. And that needs to be expressed through you in order for you to be the only one in what you do. Stop trying to be better than the next guy and next girl and next in-betweener, and start being who you are, your full self-expression, unapologetically, fully, and freely. Just do that and watch what happens. And really beyond that, they just need to kind of like you and trust you enough to want to work with you, right? Like, they don't have to be in love with you and think that you're so freaking awesome and perfect. They just need to know that you're not a psychopath and you're not going to kill them in their sleep. Okay, they need to know that you're going to be able to do the job, right? You're going to be able to give them the thing that they want, the result that they want, or you're going to help them achieve the desired result or solve the problem. And so how somebody ends up buying from you or consuming your content, if your goal is to just be a content creator, how they end up doing that is none of your fucking business. And I know that for marketers it's like blasphemy to say that, because we want to control everything and we want to be like, well, no, we want to know our attribution and how it all works and da 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 da. And I'm not saying that attribution softwares don't work, or okay, some of them are a lot more accurate than others, but at the end of the day, it's not the channel that they came from or what is it that they consumed before it tells you part of the story but not the full story. The full fucking story is that your job as a marketer and an entrepreneur is to show up and to worry about what's happening internally and to reflect that to the outer world and let people take part in that decision. In fact, that's their journey. It's not our job to dictate how they would go from complete stranger all the way to a buyer and a repeat buyer. Yes, we have to do the things, we make the effort, so to speak, right, for this journey to be facilitated, but we can't really control how it works. We have to be flexible enough to allow the rest of the world, that is the universe, including the customer or a client or potential client, and events and happenstance and other things, to throw in a couple of surprises like they always do. Let's stop pretending like we all know exactly, like, yeah, we know we're gonna put a piece of a marketing campaign in front of this audience and they're gonna watch it and they're gonna like it and then they're gonna click and then they're gonna go to the website and then they're gonna take this action and they're gonna And the way usually these assumptions are made, they're made based on history. It's made based on looking at how people did it in the past, but that doesn't tell you how everybody does it. All you have to worry about is the principles. The principles are the same. If you understand how humans work, you have huge advantage. So any time and effort you're going to invest into this, first start by understanding people. What is it that people want and need, and how can you connect with them? Not to manipulate them, but to actually be able to help them out. If you're sincere about this and you genuinely care, which I know you do, otherwise you wouldn't be watching these kind of videos. You'd be like listening to these other crazy, dudes like screaming at you off the top of their lungs. The kind of people who are like yelling at you about like, yeah, you gotta do this. You would be listening to those people, not to me, okay? I'm not telling you to be passive. I'm telling you that people who speak the loudest don't necessarily have the best results or the best advice for you. In conclusion, and what I want you to understand, please, if you were to take anything from this video, is that marketing and things in general aren't really as linear as we like to think. If you talk to most marketers and entrepreneurs, you ask them, how did you do it? They'll tell you that we did this and it gave us these results. And it sounds so streamlined and so freaking like controlled, but in reality, it didn't work that way. And it's not because they're lying, but it's because they themselves are making assumptions about having worked that way, when in reality, yes, that's part of the story, but that's not everything. It's not necessarily because they had so much control over the journey as much as they had nailed the things that matter, the principles. They nailed the message, they nailed the product or service, the need, the answer to the desire that the potential customer or client had. They knew how to communicate it. They put it in front of the right people. They did it with the right frequency and in the right way. They did so many of these important things correctly, which is really just a few things, but they did them really, really well. But then they go out there and they say, well, we were successful because we followed this blueprint, the 7-step strategy that was and that turned a complete stranger into a customer. And again, yes, that's part of the story, but that's not the full story. And at the end of the day, if you don't take care of that 20%, everything else is going to be a waste. So stop trying to force how things are going to turn out. Just focus on covering your basics of putting the right message, the right product or service in front of the right people, the right message at the right frequency and consistency, and doing it consistently enough and showing up consistently enough and showing in your best self, really, with your values that you know are true to you and that are going to attract the right people, and allow for things to work the way they're supposed to work. Understand that we can't control everything, no matter how hard we try. So let go and trust that when things are going to happen, when people are ready to work with you, you're going to be blown away by how they end up in your life. Like, I've had some of my most valuable, and I'm talking valuable in dollars, not how I see it, but like the most, if you want to talk about customer lifetime value, right? The most valuable business relationships that I've had were from people that came from like the weirdest ways, right? I worked with them years ago, and then they heard somebody say something, and then they decided to look me up, and we talked, and then months later, we have like a 3-year business relationship, and it's extremely valuable, quote unquote. So just do your part and be patient, because not only is marketing not linear, but cause and effect is not immediate. It's not a toaster. It's not Amazon that drops your order in 2 days. It's not, an instant pot. It takes time for things to work. And we have no control over how long it takes for somebody to be ready to work with us. So do your part and trust that everything else will fall into place. Thank you for watching. This was Aliana with Brands Are Alive. We help mindful and creative entrepreneurs who are ready to bring their full and unapologetic self-expression to everything they create, starting with their brand and their business. We want to help you create a brand that reflects who you really are, your fullest self-expression, and a business that makes you feel alive. Like truly, truly, truly a business where you have it all: your passions, your purpose, and of course, financial profitability. Thank you for watching, and I will talk to you soon.